Yes, yesterday afternoon, in a show of unity and defiance against being monitored by officers, 8 Texas House Democratic members gathered to rip the slip, publicly tearing up the permission slips required to leave the chamber by the Speaker of the Texas House. These slips were issued to all members who broke quorum and left the state of Texas earlier this month to stop work on the passage of the new redistricting maps, the ones that we've just heard right now. They then joined Representative Nicole Collier to stay in chambers and remain on the House floor overnight, awaiting today's gaveling in of the Texas House session. On the agenda when the House reconvenes, voting on the Republican proposed redistricting maps, Rep. Collier remained on the House floor since refusing to sign her permission slip, refusing to be escorted and monitored by DPS law enforcement officers to ensure she did not again leave the state. Her stand against this monitoring has captured the attention of many members of the Democratic Party, the state, and even the nation. Joining us now via the phone from the State House in Austin is one of those Democratic representatives who ripped her slip. State Representative Penny Morales Shaw, who represents Texas House District 148, located in northwestern parts of Houston, including Greenspoint and Jersey Village. Representative Morales Shaw, thank you for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm just outside of the chamber on the phone with you.
If folks would like to join the conversation, we're taking calls and texts at 713-440-8870. Representative, we've been monitoring what's going on in the chambers so far. What can you tell us into what is the direction we're going by having these questions? Is there a goal in mind, or is the inevitable just set to happen?
Both. Both, Ernie. I'm sorry to have to say that bleak truth, but the Republicans do have the majority. This is their agenda. This is their priority item. I want to first point out that we were here for 2 weeks during special session 1 consistently, and flood relief was not addressed. And our point was it's not the priority. It's being used as a cover. Now we're back for special session 2. The first and only priority on the schedule for today is this redistricting bill. Yes, they will pass it unless something unexpected happens, but we don't foresee that. So they do have the majority. Right now, what's happening is that the author of the bill is being questioned because this bill, as soon as it's passed, it will be litigated in court. It will be challenged. And we're hoping that there will be that legal challenge. And if there is an appeal, it will also be appealed. And all of this will be done prior to the next election so that we can hopefully overturn these maps. And as you know, it's unsettled law. But that's the point of the questioning right now, is to establish the record, intentions behind it, purposes, and try to establish constitutional reasons why this should be overturned, and based on the Voting Rights Act.
So for folks who are watching and think it's just political theater at this point, it actually does have a purpose, and it needs to be on record these questions are asked.
Yes, and our legal experts said the sooner these can get to the court, the better, because then they'll have time to fully litigate it and hopefully come out with a successful outcome, just like they did with other bills like the 10 Commandments in the classroom, book bans, and other legislation that passed but then was immediately challenged.
Representative Morales Shaw, question, did you have to get special permission to walk out to take this interview?
No, because I'm still technically in the chamber. I'm just like in a back hallway, but I cannot leave. I can't go outside to take this call because we were told that there's still a call on the House, and what that means for the public is that we are still basically in custody and in arrest in the chamber. We're not allowed to leave, right? Because they intend to keep the quorum and keep us here so that they can take their vote.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Shaw, I'm curious. This is Frank Billingsley. So, I know that you went to Chicago and walked out and were making, I guess, a moment and a statement. But if you knew that ultimately this would go through and be solved one way or another in the courts, why didn't you just go there first?
Thank you for asking the question. Well, for one thing, just for the record, I wasn't in Illinois, but I was out of state. So I was part of the body that was not here to help them make quorum. By my absence, I wasn't here. But the reason that many Democrats left and the majority of Democrats that went to Illinois, the purpose was to really, this was being rushed through. We had been here for 2 weeks, and there had already been 10 hearings on the redistricting. And we knew that the whole intention was just to ram it through as quickly as it could be rammed through. And we wanted the majority, the leadership decided people need to know, they need to be aware of what's about to happen. And other states need to be aware that if Texas goes down, we're not going to be the last ones to go down. There's going to be others. And they achieved that goal. That goal was achieved because, as you saw, there were many meetings across the United States with different states explaining to them the very harsh impact that this would have and the unjustified basis for it for a mid-decade redistricting, because we just did one 4 years ago, and we don't have a new census, we don't have new data, and for those reasons, it's unfounded.
We are speaking with Representative Morella Shaw. If you have a question for her, you can give us a call, 713-440-8870. Before we go to calls, I just want to go back to yesterday afternoon. I was watching as this unfolded online of the Rip the Slip. And as Celeste said in setting this up, Nicole Collier had already opted to stay in chambers, and then a group of you decided to join her. Tell me a little bit about this movement.
Yes. Well, when the body was back here voluntarily on Monday to resume business and hopefully take up the Kerr County flood emergency disaster response bills first, we were basically told, we were put in mass arrest, essentially. As soon as we were all here and they took roll, the speaker directed the sergeant at arms to lock the doors and not let any of us leave, and that the only way we could leave was to go into another room and basically be booked and sign a slip saying that we would be under the custody of DPS, the Department of Public Safety. And we didn't think we had any other choice. And so we all lined up. We did it. And Nicole, that's when she said, I'm not doing it. And we didn't really know until we were escorted out of the building that she was still in here. And so when I started reading the threads and seeing the coverage, I'm like, you know what? Nicole was right. We didn't have to do this, and nor should we, because so our objective, to answer your question directly, was to correct course. Mm-hmm. We still had time to correct course because this is lawless and baseless. There is no constitutional basis or rule basis for it being done, for those kind of punitive means to be imposed on statesmen and stateswomen. But if we abide by it, if we submit to it, then we are thereby setting a very low and bad precedent for all future legislators. And by Nicole's action, Nicole Collier, it dawned on me that we weren't doing anything good. We were validating their narrative that we were derelict and doing something wrong, when in fact we were exercising a constitutional procedural right that's been here since 1870 and has been exercised by the minority party when there's majority overreach. And so I started calling members and saying, this is not good. We need to get back and we need to be with Nicole, and we need to course correct everybody who wants to or who can. And I think all members knew that this was wrong and it was unfair and it was unlawful. And those of us who could came back and stayed here throughout the night with Nicole and until we gavelled in this morning.
So then what happens tonight, tomorrow night, the rest of the session? Are you folks moving in?
It depends. Yeah, it would literally be the House of Representatives, house arrest. We don't know, because we believe that if they pass this law, which is the governor's priority to do it, he has promised to call as many special sessions as needed to get this done for the president. Then if they get it done, we believe they will take the call off the House. In other words, they won't care about us anymore, nor our whereabouts. As I've said before, it just requires a certain number of warm bodies in the chamber to make quorum. for the majority to conduct the business that is their priority.
You're listening to Hello Houston. Joining us now via phone from the State House in Austin is Representative Morales Shaw. You can join the conversation at 713-440-8870. Jake from Kingwood is on the line. Jake, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question for Representative Morales Shaw?
Thanks for having me, and thank you, Representative Morales Shaw, for going through the sort of rigmarole. I know that everybody's focused on the redistricting, but I wanted to sort of shift to SB 10. I don't know if you've had a chance to read the full text of the ruling from Judge Beery this morning, but it seems like they granted the temporary injunction, but I wanted to see your thoughts on how durable you think that is, or if you think this is just going to end up with another rewrite from the Texas Leg to sort of force the 10 Commandments into the classroom. Obviously, it's something that a lot of people have been following.
Thank you for the question, Jake. Theoretically, the law is in play. But of course, we know that with the court situation pending, we're hoping that there's still a viable chance that the court will look at this and say it's a violation of separation of church and state.
This whole process we're watching, I wonder, are you concerned that this becomes the new normal moving forward when it comes to politics? Redoing of maps, breaking of quorums, House arrests. Are we entering into uncharted territory that we probably should correct this course before it goes too far?
That was a very key decision-making element when we decided to come back and stay, because that's exactly what we want to avoid, is that we are setting the standard that if members of the legislature exercise their constitutional right to deny quorum to the majority party, that they are not subjected to whimsical, unlawful, something that you thought of at the, late last night in a circle of your majority friends. What can we do to make a show and make it to where they won't do this again? Now, they already did that to us in 2021 when we broke quorum for SB 1, the voter bill. And when we came back, as I like to say, as soon as we got back, we got a spanking. We got slapped with $500 a day fines. We were told we couldn't get our paychecks. They would cut our budget, and therefore we'd have to relieve staff. It was all sorts of things that we were punished by. And this is a new low because that didn't prevent this quorum break, which they had hoped it would. So this is a new low. When they get back, let's, lock all the chamber doors, which they can do, but they cannot put us under custody if we haven't done anything wrong. And that was the signing the slip and being released to a DPS officer to be able to go anywhere.
Representative Morales,
outside this building.
Representative Morales Shaw, what has the reception been from your colleagues since you have returned? It's
frigid. And
sure.
I think you mean the majority party?
Yes.
It's frigid. They're not happy with us for taking a stand or for just not being here. Because some of us did have legitimate reasons for not being here. It's frigid. It's cold. But I am a lawyer of 25 years, and I know that you go in the courtroom and fight, and if you come out, you're still dealing with humans. So. I'm still cordial and respectful, but I also won't dilute my values.
Take me back just for a second, too. My understanding from where I sit, which is not nearly as informed as where you are, that it was really part of your return had to do with making sure California wasn't just talking, but was actually going to do the actions to move forward on their map, so that when Texas does approve this new map, we do have a counterbalance in another state to counter what we do here as a Texas state. Is that accurate?
Ernie, the Texas Legislature is watching California very carefully and staying in close touch with the governor there. And there are dates on the calendar that everyone's watching to make sure that the vote comes to the floor there and that those changes are made. So I can tell you that the leadership is watching that very closely, and they are staying in close touch with Governor Newsom.
What's your reaction when the governor of our state says something to the effect of, well, if they add 5, we'll add 10? That suddenly it seems like any of the ideas behind the reason for redistricting just quickly goes away and simply becomes a fact of we're doing what we can to just seize power.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate reality that has come to be. As you know, the legal argument for that is that there was a conflict between the 14th and 15th Amendment, that things can't be race-based, and the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which says that majority-minority districts can be established so that there's fair representation for all Texans. So I agree there is a valid conflict that's now come up and surfaced, but this is really all about, and Mitch Little said it with no shame. He said, we're doing this because we can, meaning we're doing this because we're the majority and we can do whatever we want.
I know you have a time you need to get back in there and get back to doing the work you're doing, and we're just about out of town. Will we expect to hear anything from you on the floor today?
Yes, I've already been at the back mic a couple of times. So, yes, I'll be back on the back mic again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
State
you.
Representative Penny Morales-Shaw, thank you for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Yes, y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
you.